Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you at the presentation prepared by Katarina Suszkowa. The presentation about Management 3.0 and about practices, use cases. And Katarina is an Agile coach and a consultant. She's a leader of PMI Ukraine Kharkov branch community and a founder of Reactor Academy. She has huge experience with facilitating workshops, trainings, and multiple various teams. And she's ready to share with all of you the real use cases and best scenarios. So welcome, Katarina. And from my side, I wanted to also wish all of you a great presentation and have a great Agile Z-Day. I would love to remind you about possibility to ask questions. And with those questions, keep in mind, we would like to look for the most interesting ones and get back to the authors of the most interesting questions. So it's recommended to not to use the anonymous way to ask questions, but rather direct one. Yep, with that, Katarina, the floor is yours.
Thank you. That was so great presentation. I'm used to hear the applause at this time, but I think I felt it. Hi, everyone. I'm even afraid that I can't add too much about myself after this presentation, but I will say a few words. So I will talk about the Management 3.0 practices and real use cases that I had with them. And so let's go. I will not repeat what Lucas already told, but I would say of like a very long way from the project manager. Then I became the project manager lead. And we created the PMO. I was head of the PMO. Then I changed my way a lot, and I moved to the different, but a bit similar, but a lot different position. It's Agile coach. So I was in Agile coach for some time, and then after that I got back to the project management, and right now I'm working with the EPAM as a project manager. So also the side activities, I always was worked as a consultant and as a Agile coach for the other organizations, and that's why, believe me, I had a lot of ways, a lot of cases to try different practices and to build my teams. And we always work with the teams, and we, as a founder and the trainer of the Reactor Academy, I worked a lot with the leaders, with the managers. And one of the requests that I always get is to how to create a great team, which will perform a lot, which will have great atmosphere, which will be open, etc. So we all want great teams to perform great and to do the products great. So I will share today for me, best practices, best cases, best techniques, which I found in the Management 3.0. So I think important to start about the Management 3.0. This term, I guess, was developed. I hope he developed, but this term is so much associated with the name of Jürgen Appello. He wrote a few books. For example, one is here. You see, it's called Managing for Happiness, and there is another one which is called like Management 3.0, blah blah. And what he told, what is it? He told first start with the problem. It's usually. He understood that a lot of people, they spend most of their lives working, right? They spend a lot of time to work, and a lot of people, they hate their work. They do not love going there. They do not like this. And he understood that this is a problem. He was an engineer, but then he became a manager, and he wanted to change this. So he described a few management levels. First level is management 1.0. This is a level of the organizations where they think that organizations, they are like machines, and people there, they are like gears. So you can just easily change them, and you can easily, I don't know, like evaluate the level. There might be easy KPIs and etc. There is another level. It's management 2.0. That's when organizations understood that people are so much valuable assets for them, and they but they still don't understand how to do this. So they're still so much hierarchical, so they have like very strong hierarchy, and they still practice top-down, I would say, management. And but we should know that people do not love to manage this top-down management, and they do not answer with self-organization to this practice, to this management way. So after this, he told that the next level is management 3.0, where you can get where different practices are used, where different attitude to people, so where a manager is a servant leader who tries to spend more time with their team, who thinking about mostly about the atmosphere, who do not stick to hierarchy, to the roles, to the names, to the positions, etc. So this is a very, very quick overview, which is also shared by me. Exactly, this is how I understood this. So to get more information, I encourage you, I hope after this talk, or at least I will a bit motivate you to go there and to read about the Management 3.0. There is a website which has a lot of information. It's open, available, etc. There are a lot of workshops regarding the Management 3.0, and also you can find books. They're very interesting, beautiful, and they're as all the practices that you see look like a funny journal. So moving on. I would describe here the cases, my use cases, because as a facilitator and manager, I see practice, I read about this, and then I think on how I can adjust it to the tools, to my team, to the techniques I used to. So they're a bit modified from what you can read on the Management 3.0, but here you'll get my real experience. Here you'll get the cases where I exactly used those practices. There is just a short list of them. Again, you can read much more practices on the Management 3.0 here, as you see on the website. So I would say a few words about the team competency matrix. Then we will go to the Kudo cards, just a few words. Then we will go to the personal maps, one of my also favorite practices. And then after this, we'll go to happiness door. So let's move on. We will speak a bit more regarding the team competency matrix and all those others, Kudo cards, personal maps, and happiness door. We will go a bit quickly. So, team competency matrix. What is it about? This is the picture of one of the real workshops we had. So what is it about? This is about describing, so the team describes all the competencies that they think needed in their team. And they're trying to think how to evaluate themselves and think which level of knowledge of this competency or skills of this competency they have. And at the end, the goal is to get first to get the personal development plan, so they think where they want to move, to think about the bottlenecks, where, for example, we think that we have some competency we really need a lot in our team, but we have only one person who has this knowledge. And also we will get the list of the competencies needed and for exactly, and it will be very useful then later to find the right people for the team. So a few times I had workshops with this like high-level agenda. So we started with the opening and the exercise constellation. I will not stop on this exercise, but why I show it to you that you can Google it. The opening and constellation exercises were very important as for me for the start, because during the discussion of the competencies, people feel so much vulnerable, because it's so hard to talk about your professionalism, to talk about how professional you are in some competency, etc. So, and talk to the group, to show this to the group. And you understand that for this, we need to have some level of the trust in the team, so you'll feel psychologically safe. And for this, we some nice exercises for their opening. For example, we were speaking one by one about something personal. Then there were this exercise constellation where I told some statements, and the guys showed in their position if they agree to this statement or not. But this is again some statements which show something personal from the person. So the example of this could be like, I love pitching, or I love teaching others. I love meetings. And people move and they know more about it, and the atmosphere is becomes more trustful. And then after this, we can go to the exercise itself, to the team competency matrix, how we did this. We were brainwriting all the competences we think we have and we need in our team. Then we moved to the clusterizing them. So we remove duplicates or group similar competencies. Then I asked the guys to fill in the map with their thoughts of the level of the competency knowledge they have. And then after this, we had some discussion, created personal development plans, and then some closing and feedback. So this is an idea for the workshop. And then let's go one by one. So first, before brainwriting, of course, I gave guys all the materials, so they have the sticky notes, pens, etc. And I told the guy that they need to think of all competencies, different ones. This could be skills, soft skills, topics and subject matter, tools, techniques, processes, practice, everything they can think about. They need in their teams. They do in their teams. And there could be, of course, long lists, and they worked individually creating those lists. So first, they write individually on the sticky notes. Then after this, they discuss in pairs, then in groups. Then each group, one by one, they present their lists. And we have, in the end, 2-3 lists, depending on the size of the group. Why we need to have this step of the individual in pairs? Just quickly, you can talk a lot about this, but it's quickly when person thinks individually, they brainwrite individually. They are forced to generate thoughts. They're forced to generate some ideas, because guys working in the group, there are some quiet people who always thinking of how to not be noticeable, how to keep silent, and they're not active. So, but when you ask everyone write those sticky notes, everyone is engaged. So you will have more variance. You have wider list, and you will have everyone engaged. So why in pairs? Because when those quiet people, they discuss something in pairs, they then do not afraid and do not feel uncomfortable so much share those ideas in the group, because at least they have one person who is supporting them, who is already like quite support. This is a very quick description or explanation why you need to go this way, but you can read also about this practice. There are quite a lot of other benefits of it. So after we get the long list of this variants of all of the guys of the team, then we need to at least to clusterize them, to group them, because there might be some stickers, some categories defined which are very similar to each other, and we can treat them as one group or some one competence we need. So as an example, someone could write, we need to be able to divide stories into tasks, and someone will write, we need to be ready to get ready to the planning, or to groom stories. So like a bit different formulation, a bit different, or wider or thinner, the narrower the practice described, but anyway, they're about similar things. So what I do, I ask everyone in the room, they ask them to just go to the board and group all those competencies by any similarity. So any similarity. And they usually themselves, they quickly create those groups. For the stickers where they start discussing a lot, I just ask to leave separate, and then I help them to like facilitate the discussion about this sticker. But mostly it's okay if we do not agree quickly on where it should be separate or in some group. I just leave them separate, so we do not spend too much time on this. And so we have clusters. We stick with the we create the name of this cluster, and then we treat those this cluster as this group of stickers cluster as the one competency. After this, what we do, we create the map. How to do this? So on the left here, we have the names of the team members, and on the top we had the competencies. So you see one sticker, one competency, and a long competency map. And what I do later, I give guys stickers of the different colors, 3 different colors, and ask them to fill in the map themselves, thinking of the level of the knowledge or skill they have regarding this competency. So, but they're very basic. So this is expert, where it feels like you're perfect in this competency. Practitioner, it's like you're in the middle. You have some experience, and novice, where you do not, you know nothing, or you know just a bit about it. Very important thing here on this stage, tell everyone that we do not have the discussed, agreed expertise level needed for our team. Because I always tell them the example that, for example, someone who thinks, someone who was had an experience facilitating a retrospective one time in his life, and he thinks that this is absolutely enough for his level of this expertise, he can stick that he's an expert. But for example, me as a facilitator, I might think that I'm a practitioner because I see how much more I can learn in this field. But in the end, we will need to talk about this and decide which level of the expertise is needed for our team, is enough for our team. And then we may, for example, change the stickers up to this level discussed. But this discussion will be later. So I need to warn them about this, because later, if I will not, there might be a lot of misunderstandings and might be the reason for the conflicts. So you need to be very careful and facilitate this. So they create those maps, and what they do after this, I ask them to, one by one, they take, for example, one person, we take one competency, each person one by one, they discuss describe why they stick this or other color of the sticker, why they think they have this expert level, and then we just may change, for example, the color someone if they think they change their mind. After we discussed all these competencies, we go to we are thinking about the very important competencies where we have lack of knowledge. And then we decide who will grow this knowledge inside the team and who can help with mentoring. And then guys, based on these, they create the personal development plans, and they can be ready to, like after this, go with this plan and remove the. So, summarizing all this, this activity really builds trust. If this is facilitated, great. There are no much conflicts, and of course, it's very hard to go with this activity if you have very new unbuilt team, because some level of trust there should be, and if there is some level and you facilitate it good, you warn about possible conflicts, you just explain why it happens. Some discussions, they became more open and they're not afraid to talk about the professional levels, etc. And also, of course, you help to grow the knowledge sharing, because later, of course, they will guys will communicate to walk through their personal development plans. So this is about the personal map. Oh, sorry, team competency matrix, and then let's move on to others. We'll go to the personal map as I told, but first let's speak a bit about the Kudo cards. This is a very simple practice. How I used it. This is just a few words how you can fill in it. There are some cards, as you see here. You just share it with the team, and guys have to write their who they want to thank and for what. Just two rules: who and for what. And that's it. Where I use this? I use this on the retrospectives. By the way, here is a picture of our outside retrospective. So I shared those, as you see, personal Kudo cards. And in the beginning of the retrospective, before talking about the improvements or some remembering about other cases or situations were in the sprint, I just asked them to think about who helped them. If someone made something good during the sprint, someone you want to congratulate, and just list down all of this using the Kudo cards. And later we moved to other steps. This practice was so powerful, and people like guys, they loved this. So even after this, when I changed the approach to retrospectives, anyway, they started all they did with the appreciation, with saying thanks to each other. And of course, this practice it helps to start the retrospective from the good point, from the positive note, and to build the team. It gives a very open and nice atmosphere. Let's move on. Personal maps. I told about this a few times already during the speech. It's one of my favorite practices for the teams. And by the way, we'll have one today for my team online. How I did this offline? As you see, you share, guys, papers, pens, for example, color pencils, and you ask them to divide in pairs. You give them questions to interview each other, and they need to interview each other and create the mind map of this person. Quite an easy thing. You give them time, papers, pens, you give them create the pairs, and they have to interview each other. After they present their maps, and that's it. You can't imagine how much great it is, how much powerful this practice was, because guys who even worked a lot with each other, they discovered something new. They discovered something very useful and similar between each other. So let's grow the atmosphere. This was the base for improved communication, for the friendship. So this is really powerful practice, and one great thing about it is you can ask them to work in pairs. You can ask them to work individually. It's all okay. I prefer pairs because there are two people. They build stronger communication base. That's it. I think I talked a lot about this practice already. So you can imagine how often they start talking a lot about each other, and when they're presenting the maps, they're presenting not themselves, but the person they were interviewing. So it's really great atmosphere when someone talks about other team member with huge appreciation of fun and etc. And the last practice I would want to cover today is the happiness drawer. It's also very simple and fast way to get feedback. It's also like, maybe you saw it also. You just create a matrix where one dimension is how interesting it was, how useful it was, and you just ask to stick sticky notes according to their feeling of the level of the workshop, training, etc. And you can ask them if they want to leave some feedback, just write down on the sticker. That's it. You can even let them be allow this practice to be anonymous by sticking this poster somewhere outside the room. So when they will be able to stick when they are leaving the space of where the workshop was. And if they see you do not see this, they can stick wherever they want to. That's it. So in the end, summarizing, the management 3.0 practices, they increase productivity, they of course increase motivation, happiness, and they basically they improve communication in a team. And again, to read more, just go to the website, search for the books, get more description about this. And if you have any questions, you can just find me in any social network. You can find me through the Reactor Academy social networks or the PMI Ukraine, anywhere, and I can answer your questions. Maybe if you want to have some suggestions on how to organize it online, also it's possible. Just write me a note. So I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you very much, Katarina, for amazing presentation. I'm looking forward to giving a try to those practices myself with my teams. And we already have a bunch of questions. And you kind of guessed the first one, which is, with current pandemic, is it still we can adopt management 3.0 in remote teams, like clusterize or create a map?
Yes, of course we can. If we're talking about the team competency matrix, this is not exactly the way it is when we are offline, when we are collocated. Because even if we are collocated, it takes around 1 day to go through it the first time. And then, for example, so when you create this matrix first time with the team, it takes around 1 day to fill it in, to discuss, to go through all the steps. After this, for example, if you are undertaking reviewing it one in a half a year, this is quite faster, so you just spend 2-3 hours maximum to review the matrix and to review the personal development plan progresses. If you're going this online, you can use Miro boards. Just get it ready. You can use Miro boards also for the individual brainstorming, where we can pair Zoom. I think this is not something new for us now, and but yeah, this is possible. But the one very important thing to note is that you need to spend a bit more time, because working online, you'll need to have more breaks. Not like the most important to get at least once in an hour, and the work is done a bit slowly. But of course, it's possible.
Thank you very much. The next question is, what you do not like about Management 3.0?
Management 3.0, this is not only those practices which are listed on the website. Management 3.0 is the like philosophy, culture, etc. So something of those statements that you can read from the Jürgen Appella, I like. With the most of them, I agree, but with some part they are a bit like feel do not okay. I'm not fully agree with this, and again, there are some practices I think I will not use for now with my teams, because I think they're or I could say my teams are not ready for this, or I think we do not need this. I think that will not work for us. And I told you about those practices which exactly worked for me. There are, for example, a couple of more that I used also, and I think they're great. But and there is also the bunch of them which I do not use. For example, scorecards, for example. I will try to remember. We better, you always better remember the practices that you use than the ones you didn't use. So you can just think that those that I haven't described, half of them I do not use, and I don't think they're so much powerful. But that's for me.
Thank you very much. And the next question is, do you agree that sometimes Agile equals control chaos, and why?
So much philosophical question, Agile to control chaos. It might be, it might be used to control chaos, but not only Agile can be used to control chaos. There might be other approaches, philosophies could be used to control chaos. And I think Agile is mostly used to okay, I would say as for me, Agile was developed to improve the producing value for the business. So this was the main point to, and of course they changed a bit to think of value, like to evaluate people more, to think of people more. Again, for example, if we're talking about the management review, they think that this is the way to get more Agile. They're not think that this is the Agile practices, just for you to make sure you understand it correctly and you divide it in your head. But yes, I think we can use Agile to control practices, to control chaos, but I think this is not the only way to do this.
Thank you. The next is a bit longer. It's holocracy is a great thing, a lot of personal freedom and creativity. How do you define amount of power and independency of a team to make projects successful? Sometimes team couldn't be not mature enough to build effective self-organized process.
There were a few parts of this question I can reply, but I will choose the one I want. Sorry. Because talking about the holocracy itself, this is a very, very long topic. That's why. And holocracy does not equal management review or practices. Holocracy is not exactly the self-organized teams. That's one of some points, but those are a bit different things, and holocracy is like wider and different thing, different topic you can talk a lot of. But I would stick to the part where sometimes people are not mature enough to be self-organized, and that's right. Why Agile coaches, they have quite a lot of work, because when you want to introduce changes, you need to make sure that the culture of the organization is suitable and is ready for the change, and the energy level is enough for the change, etc. And that people are not mature for this, because otherwise those changes will be or they will fail, or they will be adjust so much to the to the way of work people are used to. So they will not work they need. And what we do as Agile coaches, we try to grow the level of the team. We want to grow their to improve culture, to work on the transparency, so we work on them. And how we do this? We do this step by step, change by change. We use powerful questions. We ask them. We introduce something little and see what they do. Then we ask them to think why and what happened, to be more aware. Really using a lot of coaching techniques, equations. By using them, we grow this awareness, self-understanding of the team. And this is a long process, but really we grow this matureness of the team. So yes, for those for a lot of practices, just introduce, like, at once the teams might not be ready, but you need to grow them to introduce.
Thank you very much. And the next question is, can we use a personal maps for an old team?
I think old team, right? So that means, yes. I think where people like they have a big experience, and this is not just new old team, but the team where the age of people are not 20 years or 30 years. Maybe if you thought, as for me, I do not divide people to old or young. I use those practices to all of them, and I do not usually at work do this, so this is something strange for me a bit. But okay, I will try to. I may think why this question appeared, because you may think that, for example, if you have a people of not young teenagers, but a bit elder, they might think that those drawing those maps might be very strange. But as for me, I had experience with the different teams, and it will always work fine. Just you may feel and understand that some your team members that this team, for example, they would love to and draw colorful personal maps, and you give them colorful pencils, but for the other teams, you feel that this is that they are more they do not love this. They are more serious, and you just give them a pen just to draw something, to note something without some additional drawings. This is some variation, but again, this does not depend on the age at all. This depends on the person and the team itself.
Thank you. And another question we've got is, did you pass any training on management 3.0, for example, basics, M 3.0 basics?
Me, myself, no. To be true, but I had a colleague who passed it, and that's why we had a lot of more sharing. It often happens in the teams. We divided our like deep competencies. Yeah, so we were like tried to be T-shaped teams. So each Agile coach had their the strongest skill. So mine was mostly in the facilitation coaching this way, and I had trainings this direction mostly. And there was some person who took the management 3.0. I don't even know right now which type of the workshop they had, but he was certified for this, and he shared knowledge, and we together undertook a few workshops for the management 3.0. So by his help, I got some ideas and approaches. So, but again, if you're thinking about if you want to attend, his feedback was very great. So it was nice.
Thank you very much. And did you use another liberating structures except 1, 2, for all together with management 3.0 practices?
Yes, I do. Thank you for the question. This is not the topic of this presentation, but I love them. And yes, we used a lot of I can even list I can share even the list of those practices that I use, but these techniques they so much improve the workshop that I do, and they are my, I would say this way. This is my like motivation, and they give me ideas for the facilitation. So yeah, I do. You can, if you Google the liberating structures, there are a lot of techniques, and one of them, I think, I guess this is there also. It's open space, for example, very nice thing that you can use for just one, for example, I'll go here. For the big, huge teams, for example, to take retrospective for the 50, 100 person. So just read about it.
Thank you very much. I think we have still time for one more question. How much time did personal maps take for your teams? Asking because for our teams it was over 1.5 hours for 10 people team.
It was so great for you. I plan usually for 10 people. It's for 2 hours, usually 2.5 hours. Because again, I do like opening, some nice activity there. I do closer. So if I want to build a team, I prefer to avoid spending too much time on again. I prefer spending more time on self-presentation, so I would not want them to stop with the timer, and that's why there are a few options. You can, for example, give them 7 minutes, or for example 15 minutes to create maps and interview each other, and then, for example, 2 minutes for each other to present each other. But I do not limit this time. So I allow them to speak a lot. I allow and encourage the conversations regarding some comments, and that's why it's usually takes around 2.5 hours for, again, 10, 12 people.
Thank you very much, Katarina. We've got some more questions, although we're already out of time. So once again, thank you very much, Katarina, for the presentation, and thanks to all the participants for all your great questions. I'd like to also encourage you to ask the questions that we did not manage to answer in this link that I will just share as an announcement. It's the Community Z page, where you can see basically all the details about this presentation, and hopefully Katarina would be able to answer more of your questions using that page later on. So from my side, once again, thank you very much, everyone, and I'd love to thank you, and I'd love to encourage everyone to join the next presentations.
Thanks, guys. See you. Bye.
See you.